What's up, Brian Tong here, and it's anything but quiet with the latest Apple news. New Macs are going to be pushed out to 2023. A classic feature could be coming back to MacBooks, and the iPhone 15 may not have any physical buttons. So let's just get into the latest, and we start with the Macs because there has been plenty of speculation that we might see an event this November. Well, there were earlier reports by Korean blog Naver that the new 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros with the new M2 Pro and M2 Max chip would not launch until next year, and they would most likely launch around the March timeframe, but have been held back due to supply chain issues. Then Bloomberg's Mark Gurman chimed in to report Apple is not planning to announce any new Macs at all for the remainder of this year, with all releases planned for the first quarter of 2023. Now that's expected to include the new MacBook Pros, a new Mac Mini, and yes, the all-new powerhouse Mac Pro, because during Apple's recent earnings, Tim Cook said Apple's product lineup is set going into the holidays. So, you know, that's as close as you'll get to an actual confirmation without saying no more new Macs in 2022. Now, I've got my eye on that rumored Mac Pro, with reports saying a version with 24 CPU cores and 76 graphic cores and 192 gigs of memory is being tested right now. We've got a new M2 Ultra or M2 Extreme chip that could bring at least twice or even 4 times the power of an M2 Max chip, which we expect to see in the new MacBook Pros. And that's a whole lot of power, but I'm completely fine with just waiting it out. But for me, the best rumor and patent that I really hope comes true, the iconic backlit Apple logo on the cover of MacBooks could be coming back to future models based on a new published patent by Apple. And it's okay if you just peed yourself, because I already did. Now, the glowing Apple logo was an iconic feature as far back as the 2000s, and I know some of you watching right now, you weren't even born back then. But I mean, that is crazy to think. But you would see these glowing Apple logos at coffee shops and at school everywhere, and it was just one of those cool details that everyone who had one misses to this day. Well, a patent filed by Apple back in May of this year was published by the US Patent and Trademark Office and discovered by website Patently Apple. The patent is described as electronic devices with backlit partial mirror structures, and the patent says an electronic device such as a laptop, computer, or other device may have a housing. Components such as a display and a keyboard may be mounted in the housing, and the rear of the housing may be provided with a logo. The logo or other structures in the device may be provided with a backlit, partially reflective mirror. And there's literally nothing else that can be but a backlit Apple logo. And it's a patent from 3 recently new engineers that started with Apple in 2018. So this is really a new method for bringing the backlit logo back to the Mac. And with all the power efficiency of Apple Silicon today, we know there is plenty of juice available. Like, I don't care if it cuts an hour off of my battery life. Like, I welcome this iconic logo coming back with open arms. And, you know, some of you would upgrade just for this feature, because let's be honest here, right? Looks matter. Even if she doesn't tell you that they don't, but, you know, then you stop getting those text messages, and then the calls stop, and then you hear nothing. Like, then you hear she's hanging out with someone new, and you're left to wonder, like, what happened? What happened to the backlit Apple logo? Yeah. All right, let's take a moment to thank Morning Brew for sponsoring this video. You know, before I signed up for Morning Brew, I would just aimlessly go through my Twitter feed or hop on a few sites to start my day, but I don't have to anymore. Morning Brew is a free daily newsletter, Monday to Sunday, that puts the most important news up front and gets me up to speed in about 5 minutes. Traditional news can be dry, dense, and boring, while Morning Brew delivers the news in short-form articles that are witty and relevant while giving me the info that I need. You won't find long, drawn-out writing here, and it's great for people who want the important details. Morning Brew broke down why Google and Meta, 2 of the biggest names in tech, are struggling right now, plus how oil execs are thriving with their highest profits ever while Americans are still struggling to pay for gas. Now, there's no reason not to subscribe to Morning Brew if you're interested in business, finance, or tech like me. It's completely free and takes less than 15 seconds to subscribe. So sign up for free by using the link morningbrewdaily.com/BrianTong on screen, or click the link in the description. Sign up to Morning Brew for free today. All right, back to the stories. And let's catch up a little here and get you all up to speed, because there are always iPhone rumors and reports, but iPhone 15 details they just got a little juicier, especially after Apple's own Greg Joswiak acknowledged in an interview at a Wall Street Journal event that Apple has no choice and iPhones will switch over to USB-C to comply with the new European Union law that was recently approved. Now that law will enforce a common charging standard for all smartphones sold in the region and go in effect in late 2024, forcing Apple to bring USB-C to the iPhone. Now, Joswiak didn't offer a timeline when the switch will happen for Apple, but multiple reports claim it's pretty much a lock to happen with the iPhone 15 lineup. And there's a lot of different angles here. Look, you can check out my recent Apple Bits XL audio podcast. We got all into it, but just think about this. It took a collection of almost 30 countries, 30, to finally force Apple to do something that they didn't want to do. You know, Apple made some good points in their favor that Apple is open to governments telling them what they want to accomplish, but that they shouldn't be mandated to follow strict guidelines to do that. I mean, we know Apple's always like to control what goes in and out of their product for what they believe is the best customer experience, and also the fact that they make a nice chunk of change by licensing that Lightning connector for all third-party accessories that use it. We also know that Apple has pushed for the removal of the power adapter to be more environmentally friendly over the past years, and as one of the biggest trendsetters, you know, in the tech space, what they do influences other companies. But you could also argue that if Apple jumped on board with USB-C as far back as, let's say, the iPhone 10, which could have been a perfect starting point with its all-new design, they wouldn't have sold hundreds of millions of new phones since then that now might need a new USB-C cable or USB-C power adapter. Also, my mama, she's still using the original, like old school USB-A to Lightning cable from the original iPhones way back in the day, and she's not the only one that's gonna have to eventually switch over. But no matter what you think, or even if you care, USB-C is coming to the iPhone, whether Apple likes it or not. Now, a recent report from leaker Ming-Chi Kuo also claims that the new iPhone 15 Pro models may feature solid-state volume and power buttons, which means there potentially will be no physical buttons that press down whatsoever on the two high-end iPhones next year. Now, the new 15 Pros will reportedly have Taptic engines on the internal left and right sides to provide feedback to users to make it feel as if they're pressing physical buttons. And that would also increase the number of Taptic engines in the phone from 1 to 3. Now, you can already try out these sweet haptics when you use the keyboard with iOS 16 and turn on the feature. But there were rumors of the Apple Watch using solid-state buttons for a couple of years or so before the iPhone, but now it could be coming to the iPhone 15 Pros next year. Kuo says the buttonless design and the switch to USB-C would be two of the major updates for the iPhone 15. And in more iPhone news, there has been a lot of buzz and leaks around what the next iPhone SE will look like, and purported renders of the device from John Prosser and Ian Zelbo depict a very iPhone XR-ish type design with the notch on top. Now, display analyst Ross Young says Apple has not finalized the display or the display tech yet, and it's considering either a 6.1-inch OLED display or a 5.7-inch or 6.1-inch LCD display. So display size, display tech for the 4th generation iPhone SE is still up in the air. But we know that it'll always come down to the cost targets and goals that they set for the model depending on the pricing of the components at the time. And hey, just a heads up, Apple announced last week that there will be price increases for Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, and the Apple One bundle that includes both of those. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, customers are getting emails to inform them of the changes. I haven't seen mine yet, but Apple Music is $1 more expensive per month for an individual and $2 more for families. Apple TV Plus is $2 more, and then the Apple One plan that was previously $29.95 will go up to $32.95. You're gonna get a 30-day heads up, and emails have been going out since last week. Like I said, I'm still waiting for mine. But this week is the 2-year anniversary of Apple One's launch, so what better way to celebrate than to get a price bump? That makes me a sad apple. Aww. Now, Apple says the Apple Music price increase will go towards increased licensing costs that will end up giving more money to artists and songwriters, and then Apple TV Plus is more expensive because they have more content than it did when it launched, which sounds also like it will always end up getting more content, so yeah, that price will always go up with that thinking. But I'm still sticking with my Apple One after resisting it for the past year and a half, and now, I mean, I use it all the time. All right, that should catch you up, and that's gonna do it for this video. Hey, if you like what you see, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell. ding to get all my latest videos when they drop. And if you want more of that Apple goodness, you can check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast to get the latest deep dive with all these stories and new ones every week with special guests. Thanks again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace and love.